Welcome to a new edition of Reflections TV, where I am your host today, Shirley Hood. We are so excited to have this new episode of Reflections TV. Why? Because we have some great guests. Yes, some great guests on here that we had on last time. And this time they was in our studio. Yes, they were. And it was a group of these 5 individuals at the time sharing their stories about how it is to be homeless and going from homelessness to being formerly homeless. But on today, yes, today, they are back on. Yes, they are. One more time, just to let us know how important it is for them to share their stories. So we can't thank you enough of watching Reflections TV. Reflections TV been on air for so many years, and we like to bring not only the good news, but we also like to bring the good news of what's going on in our community. Our community matters. It matters to us all. And we want you to know that we are doing our part to make a difference in our world. We realize that the pandemic is going on. Yes, we do. But that does not stop us to continue in the fight to make a change in our community. But on today, we are very excited of our new episode of what is on today. Check us out. Yes, go to Reflections TV on our Facebook page, and you will get to see the latest episodes of Reflections TV. You can also check us out on YouTube. That's right. We are also on YouTube, where you can get to see the shows at any time, especially this one as well. Well, without any further ado, we're going to go right into the show on today. And like I said, we are very excited for this new episode. We have a group of women, yes, a group of women that is part of a great organization that I myself represent. So let's get right into it, and let's introduce these fine individuals. First, we want to introduce from the Rhode Island Coalition for the Homeless, who is our Senior Policy Analyst, Kristina Fox. Welcome, Kristina, to Reflections TV. It's good to have you on today.
Thank you so much, Shirley. It's such a pleasure to be on with everybody this morning. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you, Kristina. And next we have from one of our group called the Voices of Homelessness, Wilma Smith. Wilma, thank you so much for being on Reflections TV.
Good morning, Shirley. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be on the show and share my story.
Thank you, Wilma. And next we have part of the Voices of Homelessness, Diamond Madsen. Diamond, thank you so much for being on Reflections TV.
Good morning, world. Good morning, Miss Shirley. Thank you so much for having me here. It's a great honor to be able to express my story and express that homelessness isn't just a situation. It's a pandemic like Corona right now.
Thank you so much, Diamond. And last, we have from the Voices of Homelessness, Wendy Thomas. Thank you so much for being on Reflections TV, Wendy.
Good morning. Thank you for having us and letting us get our story out to people that just don't understand what it's like to be there.
Thank you so much, Wendy. Thank you all for being on this new episode of Reflections TV. As you all stated, we just want to let you all know, viewers, we want to let you know how important it is that these individuals are on today. First, let me start off introducing myself. You already know who I am. However, but I also work for the Rhode Island Coalition for the Homeless. And the Rhode Island Coalition for the Homeless is an organization that works hard to fight and end homelessness in our state. And on today, because of who I am as a community programs analyst at the coalition, my intent is to advocate not only for these group of individuals, but also to fight to end homelessness as well. So let us talk about what this group of individuals do. The coalition, number one, works collaboratively to create and advance lasting solutions to prevent and end homelessness in Rhode Island. It is a serious big deal in our state, and we need to do whatever is possible, and we need your help to help us to win the fight. So this group of individuals, as I had introduced to you, they're formerly known as Story Power, and they was formed back in 2009. And before that, they was formerly known as the Speakers Bureau. The Voices of Homelessness was created back then in 2009, and they are a team of Rhode Islanders who have each experienced homelessness and now share the respective stories to raise awareness and advocate for change. So let's go into it on today, and let's speak to these fine individuals. But first, we want to talk to our senior policy analyst, who is the face of the Voices of Homelessness. So Kristina, let us go ahead and start asking these questions. So Kristina, what is your initiative in doing the work you do for the constituents, the Voices of Homelessness?
Thank you for that question, Shirley. I have a really easy answer to that. It's because my colleagues here on this call, my colleagues who are part of Voices of Homelessness, I mean, y'all are the policy experts on this issue. There is no one who understands the failing of policy, the failing of laws, inaction better than people who have lived through it. Lived expertise is real, and that's what's needed to make policy that actually works. I mean, I appreciate you calling me the face, but I like to think of myself as the legs. You know, it's my job to make sure that we are moving and that we are running and that we are always driving this forward. I think the Coalition for the Homeless, the most important function that we serve in the area of advocacy, legislative advocacy policy, is to be the bridge that connects those who are making policy and those who are impacted by it. Ideally, those people should be one and the same. Wilma, Wendy, and Diamond, we're going to have talks about running for office one day, right? I would love that, but I will put my 501c3 hat firmly on and say that in these times during legislative sessions, when legislatures are not in session, you know, that conversation always needs to be happening. And, you know, my voice is important there, but the voice that is most important are the voices of people who have been impacted. Voices like Wilma and Wendy and Diamond, who have lived experience, but also lived expertise and know this inside and out and can tell you better than anyone. No, we've done, that might sound good to you, that might sound reasonable to you, but you've never experienced this and you don't know what a hardship it is to have to provide all of these documents and go to all of these different appointments and have everything be online when, you know, you don't have a home with a computer and an internet connection to go into. So how about we do this instead to make it far easier for people so that way people can get the help that they need, right? That's something that's really important. And that's, to me, honestly, the reason for why I'm here and the most important piece of my job, and honestly, the part that I enjoy the most. It's truly an honor and a privilege to work with such incredible advocates and such esteemed colleagues as the folks I'm on this recording with right now.
Thank you so much, Kristina. You know, it's so meaningful to hear how important they are to you, especially during these challenging times. And I've seen you in action. I've seen you work very hard to make a difference in the lives of these fine individuals and trying to get their voices to be heard. I believe that you are a true expert in doing this fine work. And it's a privilege that I work with you because I understand. And by working with you, I had a chance to identify how important it is to be in the fight with them, to share their stories and try to make a difference in our world. And so I can't thank you enough for the great work that you are doing at the Coalition. We need someone like Kristina Fox behind us, especially for these fine group of individuals. So Kristina, let me ask you this. Who are the Voices of Homelessness? Who are they to you?
The incredible folks who are on this call with us and who unfortunately, the folks who unfortunately couldn't be on, like Maddie and Dave and Lily, excuse me. These are, I mean, I consider y'all to be, like I said before, the policy experts here. You understand this, and it's your voice that needs to be the loudest and the most centered in these fights and in these discussions. Because, you know, it's not always a fight. I think we've had some pretty big changes in who our elected officials are since this past election in November. And we have many more folks now who are talking about, I'm pro housing. I know we need more affordable housing in Rhode Island. We have a Diamond, as you call it, a pandemic of not just coronavirus, but of people experiencing homelessness, and we need to do something about it. So that's an enormous opportunity right now. We don't always have to be fighting, but we always have to be having serious conversations, and we collectively have to be pushing that needle forward on, as you said in our mission is, Shirley, to advance lasting solutions that prevent and end homelessness in Rhode Island. I think that's what Voices of Homelessness is most powerfully, that driver, that mover, that voice of accountability, and that voice of, that voice of expertise, accountability, and reality, right? Like, it's not about talking in fancy policy terms and sounding really esoteric, et cetera. These are very basic issues, and we know what we know. So let's listen to folks and make sure that we are doing what they are saying that we need to do. Because again, y'all know it the absolute best. Nobody knows the failure or what works in a policy better than the people who have gone through it, right? Like, I can talk to people very profoundly in that vein about why it's so important for states to expand Medicaid access. Because as a result of Rhode Island expanding Medicaid access, you know, when I was in my 20s and I was working poverty wage jobs without any health insurance, I was able to get health care. And I'm an asthmatic, you know, without my insurance, my inhalers cost $500 a month. How was I supposed to live without health insurance? And thanks to Medicaid expansion, I was able to get that access. And granted, I learned just how difficult it can be to access it. You have to wait quite a long time, months even, to get approved and to get your anchor cards. But once I had it, my God, what a literal life-changing thing that was, right? The same holds true in any policy area. And that's so important when it comes to basic needs, because housing is, and Wilma, you have said this so many times profoundly, Wendy and Diamond too, housing is not just housing. Housing is healthcare. Housing is public safety. Housing is economic opportunity. Housing is family stability and unity, right? It's all of these different things. And when you live it, you get that. And I think that's a voice that's been missing from our discussions, from our policy discussions and decisions for so long. But now I think look at Congress. I don't know if y'all have been following one of the new reps who's up there from St. Louis, Representative Cori Bush, who could be a member of Voices of Homelessness. She's very vocal about her experiencing homelessness. She had to raise her child while living in a car, and now she's a congresswoman. I mean, that is powerful. And that comes not overnight, but after years of tireless advocacy, of building and building and building, you know, and that's something that Voices of Homelessness has been doing now for over 10 years. And they're going to continue to do so. And it's, again, just an honor and a privilege to do this work with y'all. And then, Sheila, if you don't mind, I want to button my lip a little bit because I want to hear, and I'm sure everybody else wants to hear from Wendy, Wilma, and Diamond. We've heard enough from me, so I'm going to go on mute. But thank you for these wonderful questions, and thank you for having us on your fantastic show again. It's really a pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much, Kristina. Thank you so much for everything that you have spoken. And we just want to keep our viewers informed that we are trying to do our part in the community to make a difference for them all. Now, you know, we're going to talk to these fine individuals that I had a chance to meet about a year ago. And I'm gonna tell you, these are great, fine individuals. I love them, you know, because they are so powerful in their own way. And I have the privilege to work with each and every one of them. And we're just going to get to know them a little bit, get to know them. We had a chance to know them and how they share their stories last time when they was on Reflections TV, but let's get a chance to know a little bit more about them. So let's talk to Diamond. Diamond. Now, Diamond, you are very, I'm going to tell you, Diamond is very vocal, very outspoken, very powerful. When she shares her story, when we are out doing engagements, and I've noticed how when she is so into sharing her story, she's very transparent, and she zooms in those who are listening to her story. So Diamond, please tell us, please tell our viewers, why is it so important to be very transparent? Why?
Thank you, Shirley. Why is it important for me to be transparent? Because I need for people not just to hear what I say, but I also need people to feel what I say. When I was homeless about 10 years ago, nobody listened to me. I was the underdog. I was the one that everybody said would fail, that would never make it anywhere, that would never do anything. I've now been housed since 2017, and I've become a huge powerhouse in the homeless committee. I use coronavirus as a pandemic. Yes, it is. I also use homelessness as a pandemic now, and I make it where people know about homelessness, and you can't forget about it now. You know, people were forgot about when I was homeless, and you couldn't say anything back then because if you said anything about homelessness, you were scrutinized, you were punished. And today, I still feel the same for people, and that's why I'm a voice for them today. I'm in a position where I can speak and nobody can take anything from me today because everything I have, I've worked hard for, and I'm going to continue to work on what I have to work on. I'm going to continue to fight for these people because I know what it's like to be out there. I know what it's like to be alone and not have anything. And I want them to know that they're never alone. You know, Voice of Homelessness are out there. Us advocates, we're out here for them, and we're always going to be there for them, no matter what the situation. We're going to do whatever we have to do to help them, be it good, you know, bad, indifference. Prime example, I've been dying because I've been thinking about getting a corona test. And I just got a phone call yesterday that, Ms. Shirley, I'm actually able to get my first corona shot. I would have never been able to get that if I wasn't who I was and I didn't do the work I do. People now see that and they call me like, the test is here. We got 150 of them. We got you number one on the list. Do you want to take the test? Yeah, I do, because like Kristina, I have underlying health conditions and I don't want anything to help it happen to me, because if it does, I'm not able to be out there for these people. So it means a lot that I could get this test. It means a lot that I'm still able to be in this fight for them. And I'm just going to continue to do what is asked of me, because I couldn't do it before, but I can do it today. And I'm honored to do it. And I'm honored to be here with you again, because this is a place where we can talk, and our words, we don't have to be scared of what we say here, because it's open forum and we're allowed to say it and not get, oh, well, you said this, so you don't have a shelter bed for tonight. You know, we're able to be free and talk about what needs to be talked about. And people that listen need to understand homelessness comes from everywhere. It's not drugs and alcohol. It's everything. So if you see somebody homeless and it's cold outside now, all I say is you don't have to give them money. Just go buy them a cup of coffee and say good morning. And you'd be surprised what the conversation you get out of that is. Thank you.
Diamond, I think that name fit you to the T, because you are a diamond in the rough. You really, really are. And it is a pleasure to work with you, because you mean what you say. You definitely mean what you say. And you care about the homeless community. And it really, when you look at someone like Diamond, you are someone that pushes someone else and trying to make a difference. So we so appreciate you, Diamond, for being a part of the Voices of Homelessness, because your voice and everyone else's voice matters. So thank you so much for that answer, Diamond. So we're going to talk to Wilma today. Wilma is another member of the Voices of Homelessness, and she has been there from the start of when this group was formed. And so she has been out there, not only sharing her story, but working behind the scenes to make a difference. So, Wilma, let's talk about this. Why your story, or many other stories, why is your story or your message important? Why is your story?
Well, there's many reasons why my story and my message is important. One is because, what happened to me and how I experienced homelessness continues to happen today. I experienced homelessness as a youth who aged out of the foster care system and was left with nowhere to go, no resources to turn to. And that continues to happen today. And, that's why my story is so important, because my experience with homelessness was more than 20 years ago, and we still don't seem to have a handle on it as a society. If anything, the numbers, although they appear to be going down in some areas, they're continuously increasing. And you would think that, to be dealing with something for over 20 years, even longer than that, because homelessness existed even before I was brought into this earth, which is over 40 something years ago, we would have a better handle on how to deal with it and how to approach it and have a better solution to combat it. And we don't. And that's why my story and Diamond's story and Wendy's story and everyone who's involved with homelessness or has experienced it is so important. And these are the reasons why we need to be listened to and taken seriously. And I think that it's important for people like yourself to give us opportunities to do so. So that's why my story is so important. It's because we haven't come up with a solution. It's not a save all, fix all solution, but the steps that we're taking are not getting us anywhere close to where we need to be in terms of, dealing with the number of people who experience homelessness on a daily basis. And we can be doing a lot more, but change doesn't happen by being quiet. So that's why I speak about the issue.
Change. That is the key word, change. We cannot change if we are quiet. That is absolutely a powerful statement. Do you hear that? We cannot change if we are quiet. We need to be as loud, as vocal as we need to be, so that we can try to create change and make a difference in our state. And this is why the Voices of Homelessness was formed. Listen, they are the real deal. They are the real deal. They need their voices to be heard. We need you. We need you to make a difference. We need you to call upon them. And there are easy access through the Rhode Island Coalition for the Homeless, so that their story can be shared and their story could be heard. So thank you so much for that, Wilma. Thank you so much. Now, also we have one of the Voices of Homelessness, Wendy Thomas. Wendy, I tell you, you're one of the great that I had a chance to work with, especially being a peer specialist for transitional housing. So, Wendy, what do you see out there? And what do you believe that needs to be done? Tell us what does need to be done?
Well, there's a lot that needs to be done. First of all, we need to get this bond issue through so we can get more affordable housing, which not only helps with housing, but it also helps with jobs. We need to keep our voices heard, especially my story with this year, where there's been so many people have lost their homes to fires. It's incredibly important that these people be seen. And it's important for us to be the voice for people who either don't have one or choose not to use it.
That's correct. Affordable housing is a big deal. Yes, it is. And Wendy, you all, aside from Wendy, are housed. And when you guys share your story about being homeless, because I know a great deal how to be homeless. I was once homeless myself, not for a long time, but I do know how it feels to be homeless. But affordable housing is a big deal. Why is that so important, Wendy? Why is that important?
Because our housing is so low. We don't have enough housing. People are not making enough money to pay the rents in this area. And nationwide, it's not just here, it's everywhere. We just need to keep pushing the politicians, etc., to bring more money into the system. And it also costs way less money to get people housed than it does to keep them in shelter.
So Kristina, when she mentioned the system, do you believe that the system, when it comes down to affordable housing, do you believe that the system is broken? And if so, how can we go about fixing it?
Oh, it's completely broken. I mean, it's ground into dust. Wendy hit the nail on the head when she said we don't have enough housing that people can afford in this state or in this country. I mean, this was a crisis before COVID even hit, right? To throw some numbers, so to be able to afford a 2-bedroom apartment at fair market rate without being cost burdened, which is defined as spending more than 1/3 of your income on housing, renters need to be making a little over $60,000 a year. The average wage, the median wage for renters in Rhode Island is $34,000 a year. I mean, you can't, and to add some more math into that, when you look, and this comes from the National Low Income Housing Coalition's Out of Reach report this past year, for extremely low income households, for every 100 households, there are 51 affordable and available apartments. For low income households, there are 74 affordable and available apartments. Now, for people who are making over the area median income, there are 101 affordable and available apartments for every 100 households. And why is that? You look at what we're building, and we're building a lot of luxury lofts, right? We're building lots of sexy, big apartment buildings on the waterfront in Providence, on the coast, et cetera. But for folks who are not making buku bucks like that, there is nothing there. Rhode Island is literally the only state in the entire region, from the Northeast, from Maine to Delaware, that does not have a dedicated line item in its budget just for housing construction. And I mean, when you take 100 households and there are only 51 apartments affordable and available to them, you can't make $1 out of 15 cents. That math is never going to add up. And that's something that impacts all the way down to the shelter system. I mean, shelter is not housing, although you do have folks who are forced to live in shelter long-term because there's no housing available. But now, not only is there no housing available, there are no shelter beds available. Because on top of our affordability crisis and our deficit in supply, because of COVID, I mean, congregate settings are so dangerous. Those were the original super spreaders, right? So we've had to, in order to implement social distancing guidelines for the safety and protection of people, to save lives, literally, we've lost scores of shelter beds. But again, it's not about creating more shelter. It's about creating more housing. And for decades, Rhode Island has not invested the way that we need to. Wendy mentioned, and thank you, Wendy, so much for mentioning this, we have a housing bond that's on the ballot this coming Tuesday, March 2nd. It's 65 million for affordable housing and community revitalization. And we need that. Without that bond, our per capita spending on affordable housing drops to less than $5. For contrast, Massachusetts spends about $100. Connecticut also spends about $100. I mean, we are barely treading water. Without this bond, we will drown. But it's about more than the bond. We need consistent funding, reliable, consistent funding for housing construction, because one of the root causes of homelessness, I mean, Diamond uses perfectly, it's not people are, it's not substance use issues. It's people think, oh, you must have drank away your rent. You must have, put that rent up your nose. No, people experience homelessness because the cost of living and housing is just so far beyond what their income is, even though people are working 2-3 jobs just to make the rent. And a lot of that goes back. So we have this increasing gap between wages and cost of living, cost of housing especially, but also this scarcity, it drives, I mean, we're in a capitalist system, right? The scarcer resources, the more expensive it is. And that is absolute basura, especialmente when it comes to housing, because housing is not a privilege. Safe, secure, affordable housing is a human right, the same as clean water, clean air, a good education, safety. Housing is a human right. And we need to see the state provide that to folks, especially prioritizing Black and Indigenous people of color, because another root cause of homelessness is systemic racism. For decades, our housing policy has been explicitly racist, barred people from Black and Indigenous people of color from being able to buy homes, even when they had the money. Even right now, it is legal in Rhode Island to discriminate based on your lawful source of income. Although there is a bill right now in the State House to ban that. Providence has passed a ban on it. The Cranston City Council passed a resolution demanding that the state take action on it. And thanks to the work of advocates like the incredible folks on this call right now, we are very likely gonna see this pass this year. But it's perfectly legal to say, I know you can afford this unit and you have the money, that's no question, but I don't like where your money comes from. And that's usually a very thin veil for voucher holders, are Black and brown people, and those people, and I've heard it come out of the mouths of folks who oppose this, and even folks who are ignorant on the situation. Oh, that means those people will come into our neighborhoods with their loud music and all their family members and their loud cars, and we'll see their beat up cars in the front yard. I mean, that is something that needs to be rooted out and cut out and burnt. That type of mentality and those type of policies are what need to be ground in the dust and left behind. And we need to build up a strong housing system here, a strong housing supply, a strong housing stock of safe, secure, affordable housing that prioritizes Black and Indigenous Rhode Islanders of color, that prioritizes extremely low income and low income households. Because these are folks who, I mean, yes, we want to have housing for all folks, for all income brackets. I mean, we're in a moment in Rhode Island where even people who are making $55,000 are cost burdened to the point where they can't find an apartment. Even if you're making $70,000 a year, there are literally only 3 places you can afford to buy a home in this state. I mean, if you're making $70,000 a year, you can't even afford to rent in a vast majority of these cities and towns here in Rhode Island. Like, good luck finding an apartment on the east side, right? So, excuse me, we do need housing for all, but the folks who have been struggling the most are the folks who have been doing the most work to build up our state, are the ones who have stayed here, want to raise families here, are constantly, consistently giving back to our community. And not that you have to be, you know, a Dudley Do-Right or a perfect model neighbor to deserve housing. But when we talk about where we need to be investing, to, you know, to where we need to be helping our folks, we need to be prioritizing these of our neighbors first. But absolutely 100%, we need to see more consistent funding, regular funding. We need to see more homes being built. Because if we don't address this scarcity, and if we continue to fall behind in our ability as a state to provide adequate housing, we are only going to see more and more and more of our neighbors become homeless and not be able to get out. And that is absolutely unacceptable. So vote March 2nd, vote yes on 3 for affordable housing, and make sure you're telling your elected officials to support bills to get us a guaranteed line item in the budget for affordable housing construction, to ban discrimination based on source of income, to increase eviction and foreclosure protections, especially right now in a pandemic. I mean, we use our voices, but we need you to use your voice too and speak out with us, because it will take I mean, housing is something that impacts literally every single person in this state, no matter who you are. And it is going to take literally every single one of us to impact this for the better and to build a better, stronger system that does not leave anyone behind. Because again, housing is not a privilege. Safe, secure, healthy housing is a human right.
Thank you so much, Kristina. Did you hear what she said? Go and vote. Go and vote. And that is on March the 2nd. Go and make your voices to be heard. You know, guys, this is a good conversation that we are having, a great conversation. So let us talk about how important it is. How important is the Voices of Homelessness? Wilma, tell me, how important is the Voices of Homelessness?
The Voices of Homelessness is, I don't even have a word to describe how important it is. I mean, it's important because people have been silenced too long. And it's like what Kristina had mentioned earlier. What better way to make changes about what's happening with homelessness and what's happening with issues surrounding housing than for the people who have experienced those issues and those problems? You know, you can't change something if you don't know what the problem was to begin with. So the people like myself and Diamond and Wendy and other members of the Speakers Bureau, Voices of Homelessness that aren't here today, we're the ones who lived it. We know what struggles we face when we're going through homelessness. We know what burdens are put on us when we're out there trying to find apartments. We know the hassle of not being able to get certain documents that you may need for a housing application because your house burnt down and you lost everything in the fire. And now you don't have what you need to prove who you are to get what you need again. So we know those struggles. So when you're trying to have a conversation about change and you're not including the people that it's going to affect, how can you make the change? So this is why the Voices of Homelessness is so important, because it's not a service provider that's given suggestions on how to change. It's not a government agency that's given suggestions on how to change. It's people with lived experience giving suggestions on how to make the change. So that's why it's important from my perspective.
I could not agree with you more, Wilma. Definitely, it's. I can't even stress how vital it is, you know, for you all to be out there to make a difference. And as a community programs analyst at the coalition, my endeavor and my intent is to work closely with these local agencies and organizations and schools and colleges to, you know, to get you guys out there, you know, to share your story and to how much, and to let them know how much of an impact that you are all trying to make. This is what it's all about. You're not just doing this just to be doing this. No, you're doing this to make a difference. And this is what it's all about. You all are out here are trying to make a difference for everyone who has gone through the struggle of being homeless. And I know, Wendy, that you have a true testament, you know, because your story, it's so powerful and moving. What is your hope, Wendy? What is your hope for the community to get out of your story and other story?
I think my biggest hope is that we can get the word out and get a lot more people on our side, a lot more people that want to advocate for people who have been there, a lot more people that want to help the people that have been there and are there now.
Thank you, Wendy, for that. What do you expect, Diamond? What do you expect for the community as well to get out of your story and others?
It's not really what I expect. It's what I would hope is that when they see us as equals. You know, we've lived this experience. Yes, we have. And we're here to talk about what we've been through and to let people know that we're here to help them to go through whatever situations that they have to go through, be it being homeless for any such given situation, that somebody from the coalition is always going to be there to listen and to try to help. And that's why I take great pleasure in being a part of this group, because me being formerly homeless a long time ago, I didn't have anything. I didn't have anybody to believe in me. You know, I have people today that believe in me. I still go through my own struggles on a daily basis, and I'm happy that this group is here, because just because you're not homeless anymore, you still go through things and you still need people that you can reach out to or ask questions to. And this is what this group has been to me, is a safe haven for me, because I go through my own struggles and I have to reach out to people. And it's okay today, because before I was scared of getting penalized. You know, I don't get penalized today. I can say I'm hurting and I'm going through something and I need somebody's help, and they're there to help me. And I'm so thankful for it, you know. And like Kristina was talking about with the housing bond and with the housing issues, it's not just that. Let me just reiterate on what she said. I don't speak about my own problems, but I'm going to do that right now. I'm one that has a Section 8 voucher, and I would give anything to have a safe, affordable housing. It is wintertime. Again, this winter again, I had to live in an apartment where, because it was 6 units, they couldn't do the weatherization for my apartment. So right now I'm sitting on almost an $800 electric bill because my house does not sustain heat. I have a landlord that refuses to work with me. I'm not allowed to play music in my house, but I have to listen to certain other things going on in my life. And it's very hard for me. And these group of ladies that are here right now on this panel with me, they listen to me. They give me the guidance that I need, because I'm not perfect. And like Miss Shirley said, my name speaks for itself. I am that diamond in the rough. You can either get the good side of the diamond, or you get the other side of that diamond. We try to keep that side hidden, you know, but it's okay to go through things in life, because I'm learning that this is life's lessons and learning experiences, but it's hard. And I cry a lot, but it's okay to cry, because these are tears I've learned that they take the pain from me, so I don't have to react like I did before. And it's not easy to be homeless, in no way, but it's also not easy to have a Section 8 voucher and you want to move. And regardless of the pandemic or not, that you have nowhere to go, because For every person that has Section 8 voucher that wants to move, you got to compete with 10 other people. And like Kristina said, it's a competition. Either A, they don't want you because of your race, creed, color, or whatever. I do nothing wrong and can't find a new apartment. I'm not stuck. I'm just here. It's a situation right now. But it's okay because the more I speak, the more I do good, you know, people start to listen to you and people are there to help you in the end of all this, you know, and my job is to help people. I don't want to be hurt anymore. I want to help, not hurt. And this is what I do on a daily basis. I want to help. It's okay to cry. It's okay to say I'm scared. I couldn't say that 12 years ago when I was homeless because of you're weak and nobody's there to listen and nobody wants to help you. I'm weak still. I'm still learning how to crawl. This is life lessons. And I don't do it on a day by day. I'm doing this minute by minute because even if I have a Section 8 voucher, I am still scared to become homeless on a daily basis. I have a pandemic. At any given time, my landlord can say they don't want me for whatever reason, and I'm back homeless again for not doing nothing. So it's not just drugs and alcohol. It could be because your landlord wants to take your rent 3 times up from you. So there's other situations that are going on, and that needs to be expressed too. And the ladies on here, they know that. We've all been through whatever we've been through, but guess what? You can't knock us down. We are going to stand. We are going to fight. It does not matter. We got this, you know, 2021, this year is going to be the coalition year. This year is going to be the Voices of Homeless. I'm here to make a stand for us women, you know, and I know everybody that's involved with this will agree with me. It's time to make a change, and it's time for us to be heard for the people that can't be heard. Because there's people that are still suffering out there, and we're going to find you, and we're going to help you. No matter what it takes, even if it's a little minute thing, we got you this year. We're going to be there for you. We're not going to say, oh, we're going to help you or not help you. We're going to do the help that we can for you. May not be what you want, but it's going to be something to get you, hopefully, to the next level that you're at. Thank you.
I tell you, I'm speechless, utterly speechless, utterly speechless. This is what I'm talking about, y'all. This is what I am talking about. How powerful, how wonderful, how effective these individuals are. Listen, book them, let them share their story to you all. They are trying to make a difference in our community. Please reach out to the Rhode Island Coalition for the Homeless. Reach out to Kristina Fox. Reach out to even myself. Reach out to us. We will be more than happy to send out these wonderful individuals to share their story and how they are trying to make a conscious difference in our state. And we need you to help us to do that. We need you. We can't do this alone. They cannot do this alone. Let me share something, a passage on our website. I need you to go to our website. It is Rhode Island Coalition, if I said this correctly, Kristina.
It's www.rihomeless.org.
Thank you, Kristina. And I want you to go visit our page. Check us out. See what we're doing. We are trying to make a difference in Rhode Island. And if you look in our section under Voices of Homelessness, this is what it says. Our speakers share their stories in many venues, in the classroom and legislative hearings, at rallies and panel discussions, at community events, and more. Voices of Homelessness leaders raise awareness and build the public will for change that's critical in building the political will we need to get things done. They are the leaders of our movement to end homelessness in Rhode Island. When they speak, This is the best part I like. People listen. I love this quote. And the reason as to why, because when I was given the opportunity to hear them and speak for a group of high schoolers, the students were so engaged and very attentive. Listen, we need you. We need you. We need you to call on us so that these individuals, these fine group of women, Wendy Thomas, Wilma Smith, Diamond Madsen, we need you to help us to share our story. Our story matters. And listen, reach out to us. Reach out to us because we are here. We're not behind the scenes. It may appear that way, but we're not behind the scenes. If you call on us, we will make a difference. So Kristina, tell our viewers how they can get in contact with the Voices of Homelessness.
Thank you, Shirley. Excellent question. And we try to make this accessible, so there are lots of ways that you can get in touch with us. So as Shirley mentioned, on our website, rihomeless.org, there is a page for Voices of Homelessness. And on that page is an online booking form that you can fill out. It takes 30 seconds, and you can book a time for us to come out and speak to your group. And Voices of Homelessness has spoken we've testified at the General Assembly and at city and town halls. We've spoken to high school classes. We've spoken to middle school, elementary school, college classes. We have spoken at board meetings and committee meetings and community events and rallies and press conferences and interviews and you name it. Really exciting news. Wendy Thomas is featured in a story in the Boston Globe that was published today. One of the biggest, most prestigious newspapers in not just the country, but the entire world. But we need every single venue to be able to share our stories and to be able to tell folks what's happening. So like I said, you can go on our website, rihomeless.org, the Voices of Homelessness, to find the online form. But you can also email myself or Shirley. Our emails are also found on the website if you go to staff, but my email is my first name, Kristina @rihomeless.org. Again, Kristina @rihomeless.org. And Shirley, also the same first name, SHIRLEY @rihomeless.org. And you can email Shirley @rihomeless.org, SHIRLEY @rihomeless.org. Please get in touch with us. Book a speaking engagement. We have had such an impact in so many different venues, and folks have really, really enjoyed always having us come and speak, because it's not just speaking, it's really a discussion, a conversation, and an important one at that. But please, we need your help in getting these stories out and making this known. We need your help to be able to advocate and educate. So contact us and bring Voices of Homelessness to your community ASAP.
Thank you so much, Kristina, for that informative information. So you know basically how you need to get in contact with us, and we'll be more than happy to assist and make sure that the Voices of Homelessness will be at your event. Wendy, I am so happy for you. Congratulations to you. I know that you are so delighted to be a part of this. I know it must make you feel wonderful, right?
It makes me feel good that I'm helping others, not so much for myself, but for others.
That is great, Wendy. Congratulations to you. Well, we are at the closing of our show. We like to thank again our special guest. Yes, our guest that is on for the second time around. And we want you, listen, book the Voices of Homelessness. Reach out to us at the Rhode Island Coalition for the Homeless. Listen, you will not be disappointed. You will not be disappointed. These are fine individuals that know their story and they know it all so well. Thank you once again, Wendy Thomas, Wilma Smith, Kristina Fox, Diamond Madsen. We can't thank you all enough for being on this episode of Reflections TV. Check us out again on our Facebook page. Even watch us on YouTube anytime. Just go on YouTube, click on, type in Reflections TV, and watch the latest episodes, including this one. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, look out for a brand new show. That's right, a brand new show that is under Destiny Productions called Destined for Greatness. You will see the trailer right after this. And we so thank each and every one who is tuning in, watching Reflections TV. And we all want you to have a good day. Be blessed. Bye now.
You're going to hear from a panel of women whose lives have been shaped and molded and changed. And we want to encourage you that you can be all that you can be.
When asked if possible to overcome a 16-year drug addiction and low self-esteem, I say yes. My God saved me, delivered me.
And we say,
being me is the most courageous thing I've ever done. Knowing who I am in Christ and that I am divinely purposed by God has empowered my authentic living.
You have plans.
I knew I was destined for greatness, so I fell in love with me, yes, myself, because the abuse I took from him, it made it hard for me to love or trust anyone else. I fell in love with the Jesus inside of me.
I declare and decree, I am courageous, I am determined, I am unstoppable, I am victorious, I am loved, I am gifted, I am anointed, I am blessed, I am God's masterpiece.
The Destined for Greatness talk show is a powerful, uplifting, life-changing, inspirational talk show that is going to help shape, change, encourage, mold, and uplift the lives of women